You need a Chromebook.
A Chromebook, right? So well, today we're hoping to share a little bit with you guys what Gemini is. It looks like I don't have to do much there. A lot of folks in this room already know, but perhaps show a few less well-known features that might help you in your daily workflow. Okay, and so we'll start with the overview, a very brief one, and then we'll get into multimodal, especially in analyzing videos, right? Because those are the most unstructured and most difficult to analyze in a traditional sense. And then we'll talk about, we'll show a demo, in fact, using search grounding, which is our latest releases. And then we'll talk about cost advantage of using Gemini. And then we'll end by sharing a few learning resources. Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Gemini is built on a deep history of research and innovation at Google. In 2015, we open sourced TensorFlow. We also launched AlphaGo, the first AI that beat a human chess master. And of course, the Transformers research paper, as well as the diffusion models we released, essentially form the foundation for all the GenAI applications and models today. And in December 2023, we launched Gemini. And since then, it's actually looking back, it's unbelievable that it's only been less than 12 months, but we have released a lot of innovations, which we'll be talking a little bit about today. Now, the Gemini is, it's a large language model, but what makes it stand out is the large context window, right? The 2 million context window. And what does that mean? It means that it can analyze 2 hours of video or 20 hours of audio, 60,000 lines of code or 1.4 million words in one go, right? Without breaking the model, right? And so, and people might say, okay, so like, why is it helpful? How can I apply the large context window now if I have racks? And so that's a great question. So it depends on what your use cases are. Large context window is ideally for scenarios where you require in-depth context, right? And so those means, for example, very long documentations, right? Or scenarios where you require complicated relationships, right? That you have to understand and analyze. And of course, the good examples of that are, for example, research papers, legal documents, large code bases, and of course, videos and audio files. Now, there are 2 flavors of Gemini models today. There's the Gemini 1.5 Pro, which is our best model yet. It's really good at native processing and native reasoning over large amount of data, right? It has a 2 million context window we just spoke about. It is multimodal, so that means it translates well or verse between text, images, videos, and different formats. And also we have the Gemini 1.5 Flash. It is our fastest and the most cost-efficient model, right? It is also it's also multimodal, but it has a very low latency, and quality-wise, it's comparable to 1.5 Pro, especially on the most common and repetitive tasks. Today, you can access these models through 2 interfaces. There's the Google AI Studio. It is our developer-grade interface for fast prototyping and small-scale deployment, right? It's very easy to get started and very accessible. You only need a Gmail account, okay? And so those are ideally for people who might not have a deep ML experience. And then we also have Vertex AI Studio, and that is our enterprise platform. So it's an end-to-end ML platform that provides services on building models, training models, and also large-scale deployment, and also ML ops afterwards as well. you do require a Google Cloud accounts to get started. It is multi-model in the sense that you can access models that are not just owned by Google. For example, Claude or Llama 3.1 and etc. So if you want to get started quickly with no fuss, the best choice would be Google AI Studio. Okay, let's talk about multi-model, especially video. So how many times have you watched a video and then later struggled to recall specific details? Yeah, okay, thank you. Or how about maybe you need to extract key insights from a video or a project, but manually reviewing it and summarizing it is very repetitive. Yeah, okay, I see people nodding heads. Now we're going to switch tabs and show you a few use cases. Okay, so I'm a big foodie, right? And so let's say I want to make something, shakshuka, right? And I save a lot of those food videos, recipe videos, but I'm too lazy and I want to, I have time, I want to spend my time better elsewhere, and so I want Gemini to do the work for me. Okay, and so I have some prepared prompt here. I'm going to copy over. So this is the Google AI Studio interface. Under system instructions, we can add, hey, Gemini, you are an expert chef, giving detailed instructions on your best recipes. Be as specific as possible, inviting, helpful, and fun. All right. So we all want to, we don't want another, Gordon Ramsay telling us what to do and what to cook. And so once you have the system instructions, all I have to do is upload the file, the video file, right? You can do it from Google Drive or locally from a computer or from camera and etc. So in this case, I'm going to upload file from my saved files, right? And so this is on my iPhone hotspot. So hopefully it's not going to take a while, but usually it's pretty fast. Okay, there we go. It's extracting the file. And then I'm going to ask. All right, there we go. It is uploaded. As you can see, it's 5 minutes long. And I want to say, hey, summarize the steps involved in making this recipe.
You need some good music right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Drum rolls.
All right, here we go. All right. Sure thing, blah, 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 right? So this is grounded based on the 5 minutes video, right? And so you can see that's got pretty good instructions on the different steps. But one thing I've noticed is, hey, how about some ingredients? I need a list of the ingredients that I need to buy, right, for making this. And therefore, I'm asking, hey, list all the ingredients and the quantity mentioned in this video, right? Cool. Music.
You parsing the video, or is it in the context window?
It's in the context window right now, but it does require steady internet speed. All right, there we go. Okay, so you can see here it has a detailed list of ingredients and also the amount. Okay, so here this is a very simple kind of everyday scenario where you can just upload a video into Gemini. Usually it is a little faster if you have steady internet speed. So how about a developer use case? So recently we have a developer using Gemini to build a website application, right? So he's a part-time dog show judge. And so he flies around the world to those dog shows to do it. But at times, because of time constraint, budget constraint, right, he couldn't go to those places. So he decided to build a website application using Gemini to help the job for him. So we're going to now recreate this process using some of the prompts we use. Okay, so we're going to create a new prompt here. And right. So now we're asking Gemini, you are an expert multi-breed judge following the American breed standards. Judge the given videos or images and provide detailed feedback of features that you can identify to give an overall summary, and score out of 100 for each, right? So that's the system instructions we give. Now we are going to upload, right? Not one, but two, and then we can do more at once. And you can see, right, uploading. So these videos are a little blurry, so hopefully you'll be a little faster. All right, first one done. All right, second one. Right, and because we already gave the detailed system instructions, in this case, we don't have to type anything, we just click run. And oh, by the way, a quick kind of tip is when you require more complex processing using Gemini or Google AI Studio, you can check this code execution button, right? This allows a more robust response and for more complex processing. Right? Well, internal. Let's see. And again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So you can see now Gemini spit out result. The first one is a bull terrier. The head appears to have a correct X shape. That's correct. And then blah blah blah. Video 2 is a Staffordshire bull terrier. The dog seems to have a broad skull and a definite stop, right? And so based on this, the developer who builds the application saying, hey, this aligns with what I've been judging, right? Based on human input. So this makes sense from a prototyping standpoint. Now let's put into production. And so what he did was you can click on get code, right, on the top right. And then you can see there are different languages supported, right? In this case, JavaScript. Copy the code and then put into your favorite IDE. Right, and then the output, we're going to fast forward a little bit. This is the website he created, right? The Dog Awards International. And as we scroll down, you can see the videos that people submitted and also he uploaded to the website. And this is the bottom right. This is the video that one of the videos we uploaded. And you can see that here it has the judging commentary. It has the scores by category on the right, just like what Gemini analyzed. And then for each of the category, it has a brief commentary. Okay. So by doing this, essentially developer can easily spin out a prototype, check whether it makes sense, and then put it into production by simply copying the code and put it into your IDE. Cool. And so multimodal and context window use cases is really good for extract key insights in seconds from hours-long videos. It is good for refactor a complex legacy code base. with a lot of lines of code and limited documentation. And also it's really good for reduced hallucination, right? Because the large context window, you're able to understand full context. And so that helps to ground the AI into away from humanization. And of course, lastly is the Gemini unique advantage is do it affordably. Now we're going to talk about another feature that Google does quite well is grounding in Google search. Okay. And so have you ever been confidently told something by an AI, only to find out later that it was completely made up? Yeah.
All the time.
All right, all the time. Okay, all the time. And so this feature is something Google Cloud released on AI Studio recently called grounding in Google search. Essentially, it's as you put a prompt and runs the query, it also checks from the Google search database so that make sure that the data and responses are factual and also more robust. And so we're going to run another demo to show you how it works. There's a new prompt. Okay. All right, now we're going to do. Does anybody know the answer, by the way, before I ask
No.
them?
No.
No? Okay. All right.
Young Sheldon?
Why is this so slow?
Sheldon?
Sheldon, yeah, right?
All right, let's see.
It's Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. Okay. Pretty convincing, right? Okay, well, let's see. Let's see.
Maybe.
So what's now? So this is without turning on grounding by Google search. Now we're going to do another cool feature is the compare mode, right? Compare mode here, where you can run simultaneously two different analyses and to compare different results. So in this case, on the left-hand side is the one that without turning on Google search. And then on the right-hand side, it will turn on, grounding by Google search. Okay, and so you can find in the settings button as you scroll down, turn on grounding. Okay, and then we can quickly check 0.3. So we allow you to essentially control how much grounding you want, right? So 1 represent, hey, I want 0 grounding, and then 1 is where you want to have 0 grounding, and 0 is where you want full grounding. Okay, so 0.3 is a good balance between, hey, I want enough grounding, but also I want to have that flexibility using Gemini. All right, let's click save. And then we're going to rerun. Okay. Surprise, surprise.
Okay.
Right, Gemini got it wrong the first time when we didn't turn on the grounding in Google search. Right, and so from this you can see that it doesn't only not only provides more factual answers, but also more robust answers with the grounding sources listed here. Okay. Yes.
Does this also mean that the results are up to date, like live results? Like if this happens today with the grounding, it's looking up new information, or is it just validating existing information at the moment?
Great question. So grounding is most helpful when number one, it's kind of the knowledge base is a little narrow and also very recent, most recent. So in this case, yes. Right, so the model is updated, and then of course, once you tap into Google search grounding, it's able to access the latest information available.
And this is accessible via APIs.
This
just
accessible via APIs.
Because I think this is a limitation on OpenAI.
I do believe OpenAI has similar features when it comes to grounding using Google search. we selfishly believe that, we're better doing that. Okay. All right, so this is again, a very kind of everyday example. Now let's try, hey, I wanna,
When was Gemini? So up to what days?
when is Google Gemini trained?
Oh, like
Like the last cut of
yeah,
time.
the data. I actually just came across this in a completely different demo I was doing.
Yeah.
I think it's like October 2023 or something like that. That's at least what the stuff I was asking about, it said, oh, as of my knowledge cut off at that point. But grounding is whatever is happening currently. So it's just whatever is available on Google search.
Okay. That's fair.
Is Google's answer?
So yeah, no, like, let me introduce folks to my colleague. So he's from Google, and Paul Skinner, he's a dev role at Google Cloud, and he's expert in Gemini, Vertex AI, AI Studio as well.
I don't know about experts, but expert. I know enough at this point.
Yeah. So do we want to try another, yes?
So
Yeah.
the training data was as of October 2023.
Yeah.
Then from then to now, how about the ground search?
Yeah.
Is it because of it's based on the search result, the internet search, or based on the new model?
No, exactly. So, so how it works is usually, let's say you ask a prompt, right? And then Gemini would to do the analysis first, right? It would have predictions for factoriality, let's say between 0 to 1, right? And this is where you can tune between 0 to 1 on the dynamic search for search grounding. And then once you turn on the search grounding will tap into that query and then run the analysis as well. And then would have also a prediction score. Let's say in this case, I use 0.3 for my dynamic retrieval. And let's say the results came back as lower. That means then it would balance the result with the one that Gemini ran to give a more factual and robust answer. Yeah, exactly. Let's say if you search exactly the same question on Google search, it will give you the answer on the right, the correct answer.
Just ask based on the current search.
It's based on, yeah, it's based, you have to turn it on, the check for when we search on in order to make it work. Yes, okay, yeah.
Yeah, hi. So in the Gemini model, you said that training was happened in 2023 and grounding is giving you the latest data. But suppose in a scenario where I'm going to use it on my own data, the model, in that case, continuously the data will be fed.
Yeah.
So then Gemini should give me the correct answer without grounding or with grounding, right?
So if your Gemini is plugged into your own database, then yes, it's able to run the latest. And in fact, our enterprise platform Vertex AI has this thing called enterprise grounding and search that allows you to do precisely that, right? Grounding your own database, no matter how big, and then able to search it quite seamlessly.
So if I don't use grounding, then it will not take the latest data, or how does it?
So grounding is specifically the feature that, well, it's at least a name for the feature that we have that's doing retrieval augmented generation under the hood. Plus there's a level of kind of verification and checking that happens behind the scenes as well. So it depends on how you set it up. Grounding with Google search, as available in AI Studio here, is just doing a Google search query based on whatever you type in, and then it takes all that information, injects it into the prompt essentially. And then after it plugs it all to Gemini does its thinking, it outputs something. And then there's a level of checking to make sure that the outputted answer from Gemini matches what was in the Google search results. As far as if you're plugging it into your own database of some kind, if you're doing some kind of RAG system, it doesn't matter necessarily if you're doing grounding or not, because grounding is specifically connecting into Google search. Yes. Now there is another feature within Vertex AI called so Vertex AI Search is an enterprise offering that allows you to essentially do this with your own data. It's just kind of a simplified version of RAG, but it also has that validation afterwards as well. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And then what's the use case of the grounding case, like, why don't we just do Google search?
Great question. So it does require you, let me do this, right? So, it depends on your building use cases, right? Because it's available on, via Gemini API. Let's say you're building an application, let's say research tools or translation use case that requires local context or, like documentation. You want to make sure that, hey, like whatever result I provide and my application is factually correct, number one, and two, as robust as possible. And this is when, it's good, time to turn on, running. Yes, and then.
Yeah, so, what's the difference between models 001 and 002?
So those are the incremental updates that we make to the Gemini models. This just means that those are kind of smaller changes compared to, hey, Gemini 2 or Gemini 3.
So smaller change in how is it smaller change in the architecture? Is it smaller like data?
So the architecture is going to be same with those 001, 002s. Depends on which ones you're talking about. It could be faster, lower latency, things like that, lower cost as well. I don't have available here, but I can definitely get it to you after.
Did you pre-select the websites? For example, if you just limit to the ground source to the Google search result, then the Google search result, the web page, the source, that means the fact. So do you actually pre-select a set of websites for authority?
Yeah, we do analyze. It's not like, hey, because search results are ranked based on a variety of things to make sure that it's factual, it's relevant. And therefore, whenever, right, the Google grounding result came back, it already had a filter based on the best selections from Google search. And then we do another analysis giving a predictive score on how factual the answer is.
Okay, so you would feel out, for example, the website is for the rumors. So they might not be true, even they are very popular website. It's for example, Reddit.
Reddit, I don't think that's something we would scan. Is that right?
So, what exactly were you asking about? I was finding the information that someone else asked about.
So like.
I mean, if you get the result, for example, you have the ground, the result came from Reddit, but that means it's the fact.
Oh, okay, so okay, I know what you're talking about, so, there is another feature in Google search that's like the AI search summaries, which pulls some information from, pulls information from all over the internet, from whatever is, brought up in the search query, and so it has brought up some not very accurate results, in different aspects here, but this, I believe this actually just pulls from, like, what we would call like first party sources or verified sources of information. It doesn't pull up from just crowdsourced information like Reddit or social media or things like that. It's only from specific things like, I don't know if you're like NASA or Wikipedia or whatever kinds of things in there. And Frank, I just sent you an article with the latest or the dates of the models were updated.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. I know everyone very interested in the Gemini. Yeah.
Can I have a quick 1 minute just to wrap?
Okay, yeah, sure.
All right, so last point is it's very affordable, folks. So especially Gemini Flash. One of our developers, actually, Simon Willison, anybody have heard of him? He writes a lot of blogs and also active on Twitter. He recently did a video scraping project, essentially extracting JSON data from a 35-second screen share, right? He recorded screen share of 35 seconds, and he was able to get JSON data for how much, you guys guess? Less than 1/10 of a cent, right? And so this speaks to how affordable, and it is our mission at Google to make sure that access to large language models is as accessible as possible and also as affordable as possible. we have a very generous free tier, which is on the left-hand side, and then right on the right-hand side, let's say if you decide to deploy small scale deployment, like for 1 million tokens, that's one hour of video, 6 hours of audio. It costs less than 1/10 of a cent. Right? Those are publicly available information on our site. And with that, we have some learning resources which we'll share with AI Camp afterward, and then you guys can access some of the stuff that we have today. All right, with that, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your great presentation. Now we welcome next speaker. You just start up the computer, right? Yes.